Left of the box. This next story is from a very unlikely source, and I even forget how I came across it. It was probably linked in a tweet. So it's not from a news source I regularly go to. Let's put it that way. And I find it very ironic that the whole opening of it is supposed to be you having pity for the person that it's featuring. And all I can thinking is like, you're damn straight. Yeah, this should be oh yeah, it needs to go further. I'm glad this is happening to you. This is the way it should be. It should be like this. So let's go over to the Times of Israel. They even have a counter up here, Israel at war, day 654. You could say Israel committing genocide, day 654. That's more how I would phrase it. So this is a very Zionist outlet, but the opening part of this is really good. I hope the worst on this person. So, I'm afraid to go home. Canadian IDF soldier fears fallout from war crime probe. Like, even that alone, it's like, oh, you're committing war crimes and you're worried that you might be caught up in a war crime probe, and we're trying to support you here. So Canada's probe into Israel-Hamas conflict doesn't explicitly target Israelis, but its unclear scope has alarmed Jews amid raising international lawfare against soldiers. Yes, international lawfare against people committing genocide. When Natty Huberman was given back his phone in March after weeks of reserve duty on Israel's northern front, he was inundated with messages from friends about a website he never heard of. I might have covered this website a couple times on my channel. People were texting me saying, watch out, your name's on it. He said it was findidfsoldiers.net, a site created in February by David Mastreski. I don't know how to say his name, a Canadian journalist who has harshly criticized Israel, accusing it of orchestrating a planned genocide in Gaza, which it absolutely has been doing. Yeah, I criticize that too. David, an editor for an outlet called The Maple, aimed to identify Canadians who have fought for the Israel Defense Forces either during the current war or previously. At a time, Huberman said the exposure felt disturbing but marginal. Now, I want to point out that what David was doing when he was making this website, he wasn't doxing. He wasn't going around like investigating. This was all public social media stuff that he was pulling from. That's it. He wasn't doing like stalking deep dives of investigations of people. This was all readily public information out there from Canadians who are going over to Israel to help commit a genocide by becoming a member of the IDF. Then, in June, the Royal Canadian Mounted Police announced that it had opened an investigation into matters related to the Israel-Hamas armed conflict. It's about time, with the possibility of uncovering a perpetrator of core international crimes such as genocide, war crimes, or crimes against humanity. The video is out there. I'm pretty sure we know who's responsible for that. In previous years, the RCMP has conducted similar investigations relating to crimes against or by Canadians in the context of other foreign conflicts, including in Rwanda and the former Yugoslavia. But this is the first time Canadian authorities have launched a war crimes-related probe connected to the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, a development that has generated particular anxiety within Canadians' Jewish community, which has documented a rise in anti-Semitism since October 7th, 2023 attack. Well, here's the thing. If you're not committing war crimes, you have nothing to be anxious about. Don't commit the war crimes. You got nothing to worry about with this probe. Nothing. The RCMP stated the investigation wasn't focused on any community or group, but to Huberman and others, the target appeared clear: Canadian IDF soldiers. Hell yeah. Yeah, let's do that. Look at them for war crimes. If they're participating in it right now, they're committing war crimes. Like that's a genocide. It's a genocide. It was scary, said Hupperman, a dual Canadian-Israeli citizen from Toronto. A lot of us asked ourselves, is it safe for me to fly to Canada? Will I be arrested at the border? Look, you're not trying to go into the United States with a fuck Trump hat. You're fine. You can still get into Canada. It's safe for me to fly into Canada. Like, I just slaughtered a whole village, but, can I still go back home? Another Canadian IDF reservist on the list, who prefers to be referred to as N because he feared legal consequences, decided not to take the chance. Good. Don't come back. It's fine. Don't come back. Born in Calgary, Alberta, N has spent nearly 300 days on reserve duty, mostly in Gaza. Stay the fuck out of this country. If you're in reserve duty in Gaza, you're a monster. That's it. You're a monster. There is no mid there. If you are a Canadian citizen and you are traveling to Israel to participate in what is happening in Gaza, you're a fucking monster. Don't come back. They're worried they can't come back home after they have destroyed the homes of millions of people in Gaza, wiped out entire bloodlines. He has spent 300 days in Gaza? And you're telling me he hasn't done shit that is absolutely war crime related? Don't come back. Now he and Hupperman are part of a cohort of Canadian-Israeli soldiers grappling with the fallout of Ottawa's unprecedented probe. And the sad fact is, it is unprecedented because this is the first time Ottawa's like, oh, maybe we should start like covering our bases here and actually say that we're doing this because we see that this is, yes, it's a genocide and soon the ICC will be ruling on it and we might be complicit in it and have to face charges. So at least if we do this, we can say, well, we were trying. The investigation has alarmed and confused them, along with other Canadian Jews, at a time of rising anti-Semitism and relations between Ottawa and Jerusalem. I was supposed to go back to Canada last week and told the Times of Israel in July, but after the investigation was announced, I felt afraid to go home. What is the worst possible thing that could happen to him here compared to what he has done there? Like, even if you were to come here and be arrested and go into one of the Canadian prisons, you are still so much better off than what you were doing to the people in Gaza. The RCMP issued its sole statement on the matter on June 4th, saying that it is conducting a structural investigation, an intelligence gathering effort linked to Canada's Crimes Against Humanity and War Crimes Act. If you have this group looking into you, time for some self-reflection. The agency said the probe began in early 2024 and is not a criminal investigation. As the publication of the statement, no charges have been filed. The force added that the investigation is solely focused on collecting relevant information and does not target any community or group. But the statement said the force had a mandate under Canadian law to assess credible allegations of war crimes and crimes against humanity and did not rule out further prosecution, as they should. That is the thing. Like, if you're not doing war crimes or crimes against humanity, you got nothing to worry about. Should a perpetrator of core international crimes such as a genocide, war crimes, or crimes against humanity with the appropriate nexus to Canada be identified, the statement read, the RCMP will initiate a separate criminal investigation. The RCMP has not published any more information about what it is investigating or the specific allegation involved. When approached by the Times of Israel for a comment, the agency declined to provide further details. And I'm going to end it there because basically it says what they should be doing is looking into Hamas. It's Hamas. They're the ones doing the bad stuff. God, be doing that. Look at Hamas. Don't look at us and our war crimes. Look at Hamas. So we don't need to go into the rest of that Zionist bullshit. But last live stream, I covered a story about some Canadians that are afraid to come home because consequences. I just want to point out it's kind of fun in a way. So David Mastrasky, I don't know how to say his name. Versions of the Times Israel article that mentioned me in the Find IDF Soldier has been published in the media outlets around the world, including Palestine and Iran. As a result, we've seen a massive surge in traffic to the site since Sunday. They totally went Barbara Streisand effect on this. So I've covered this a couple times, but last week, so I covered this. He has a database, and David is the author of it. He has this database. Let's just do that. And I'll put this link in the sandbox later on. It's findidfsoldiers.net. What he is doing is not illegal. He is just looking for information on publicly available, like social medias, to find Canadians who have gone and served in the IDF. That's it. He's not doxing people. He's not stalking people. He's just composing a list. And then some of these soldiers who have chosen to go over there. One of them was saying, I just spent 300 days in Gaza and now I'm afraid to go back to Canada because of consequences. And if you've spent 300 days in Gaza at this point, you've done some shit. You've done some war crimes. And you deserve to be held accountable. And the Israel Times was like, these poor people are afraid to go back to their country because they might have consequences. And then the RCMP has started to maybe put together a list of like, we should probably start covering our bases in case this does become declared a genocide. And we need to start holding Canadians who voluntarily traveled to Israel to go murder Gazans. So, but because the Times of Israel was making such a big stink about it and saying, how dare this person put together this list? And versions of that article got out and shared and spread. Like I found out about it because of progressive people pointing it out, saying, yeah, the Times of Israel is pointing out how these couple Canadians are scared to come home. And so many more people now are finding out about this website, and it is great. I hope all of those Canadians that have gone over there are fucking scared for their lives to come back here. I hope that they feel the stigma and the horror for the rest of their lives. I hope that they're held accountable for the horrendous war crimes that they have committed. They should not have a single moment of peace in their lives. I want to see them in front of the Hague. They should be arrested upon entry to this country as war criminals. That's it.